This is what our operation really does.
Blue is the new orange.
This is where it starts. The fads, the fashions, the product placement. From this command center, we control the most influential demographic of the entire population. We decide everything, from what clothes are in style to what slang is in vogue.
Feather tank tops, matching pants, kind of a Buffy meets chicken run.
Feathers are the new rhinestones.
The new word for cool would be jerkin. As in, dude, that's jerkin. Ooh, that's dirty.
This is the epicenter of all trends. We turn your world into one giant TV commercial. But how, you may ask, can our operation be so effective? Sure, these kids have brains like Play-Doh just waiting to be molded into shape, but something else must be going on, right? The Chinese guy knows what I'm talking about.
Junk food dinner, $6.99. The boys are back with a trip to Riverdale this week. Riverdale, Japan. First, the Archie gang, sort of, go on an erotic journey in hot times. Next, a woman wants revenge on her dog's killer in Lake of Illusions. Finally, a female rock band deals with fame in Josie and the Pussycats.
One glance at that mug and you gotta say, there's a nerd that's in for a hard time.
Welcome to Junk Food Dinner, episode 699. This is the podcast where each month we scour the internet, the theaters, and the bargain bin, searching for the weirdest and wildest cult films. In Ohio, I am Kevin Moss, and I'm joined by my California co-host Parker Bowman in the 559 and Sean Byron in LA. This month, we have two flicks loosely adjacent to the world of Archie Comics and one that isn't. Let's see if you can guess. First is Hot Times, a.k.a. A Hard Day for Archie from 1974, Lake of Illusion from 1982, and Josie and the Pussycats from 2001. But first, gentlemen, comrades, schoolmates, what the hell's happening?
You know what, Kevin Moss? I'm over here thinking that Bowman and I had a pretty good cats and dogs theme show going on.
Sure.
And then you had to throw in a little combo breaker. I didn't see either in Hot Times.
Hey, listen, there's plenty of horned dogs and pussies in my movie.
No, that's fair. Okay. All right. Well, then it is a perfect theme show. I don't know what anybody's complaining about.
Mm-hmm. 3 out of 3.
Yeah. Other than that, absolutely nothing has been going on in my world, Kevin Moss. I podcasted with y'all not too long ago, and then
That's right.
Cut up the episode and into video and audio versions and watched movies, and now I'm back.
I got to give you kudos on the video version. So yeah, if you guys don't know, we've got a YouTube channel, and Sean is the main mastermind behind it, and he's putting up some great videos. So if you're hip to the podcast but haven't been checking out the YouTube, go to the Junk Food Dinner YouTube page and see what Sean's been up to.
Yeah, go and check it out, because I think we have now entered a stage where YouTube has not only just demonetized us, but they're like actively avoiding recommending our videos to anybody. So yeah, I think you have to go there and like directly seek them out, or YouTube will never show them to you. So go enjoy them.
Absolutely. Well, what about you, Bowman? Any exciting adventures since last time we wrapped?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Nothing for me. No, nothing at all. I'm trying to rack my brains here. I considered seeing a movie, and then I didn't do it, and that was the most action and adventure I've had in the last week or so.
Oh, what movie were you considering?
I was considering the Obsession movie. Have you seen this?
I did. I saw it last night, actually.
Oh, from Calvin Klein?
Yeah, exactly.
How did you feel about it?
Well, it was strong enough for a man, but made for a woman. But no, I liked it. I might say it's a little overhyped because I've been hearing a lot of really good things from my friends, from the internet. And so it was pretty high praise going into it. And it was good. It was great. But I don't know. People are making it out like it's the best horror movie of all time or something. It's not quite that. But it's fun, and it's very well acted, and yeah, it's a pretty crazy ride. So if you're on the fence about seeing it, I'd say, yeah, go check it out in the theaters. But yeah, I was kind of surprised how much I liked it, considering, it's like a Blumhouse movie. It's from the House of Blum, which normally I don't get too big into those, but yeah, this one was pretty intense.
Kevin Moss is over here saying Blumhouse, more like Dumb House.
Typically, yes.
I've heard
I
him
would say that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you're not familiar, the movie is this guy makes a wish on like one of these like novelty. It's like a novelty thing he buys in like a whatever you call those shops with like taxidermy and wands and stuff, oddities shop. Yep. And it's like a twig that you break and you make a wish, and supposedly if the wish will come true. And he wishes for this girl that he has a crush on to like him, and it does come true, and she likes him to an obsessive degree, and it progressively gets more and more horrifying. But yeah, it's a fun ride. I mean, nothing over the top, like I said, it's not going to change the world or anything, but great performances, especially by I didn't know anybody in this movie other than Andy Richter, who has a very minor and inconsequential role in the film. All the other like young actors in the movie I didn't know, but the woman that plays the woman who has the spell on her is pretty fucking crazy, and the way that she can switch her performance from like very loving to very crazy and very scary in a matter, like in the blink of an eye, is very impressive. So yeah, worth a watch just for that.
Now, Kevin Moss, are you telling me perhaps that the Frogurt is also cursed?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that the monkey's paw is still getting around.
Yeah, it's a total monkey paw story. But it's kind of, it's also kind of an allegory for like how, men can't force their will upon women without, essentially ruining a woman's life. So it's, I don't know, it's intense. I liked it.
Sounds like woke BS to me.
Oh, it's very woke.
JK. It looks interesting. It looks good. It looks like a more horrified version of that Saved by the Bell episode where Zach
oh yeah, for sure,
for everybody to like him.
Where they hid the hidden message on the what was the singer's name?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Beau Revere or something.
Yeah,
on the Beau Revere tape.
Yeah, they put the subliminal messages in there.
Mm-hmm.
Classic episode. So yeah, I like all that, and I've been marathoning. I actually over the weekend I watched all the Wishmaster movies, so I'm like hyped on evil wishes. Like I think that's my new thing. Just evil genies and wishes and stuff like that. I love it.
Very nice.
Do you remember any good trailers unspooling before the feature? Did you get maybe a trailer for the new Jackass or anything?
No, this was at the local independent cinema, the Esquire, which is where I try to see most of my movies. And they're pretty good with the trailers. Most of the trailers they showed were for like repertory stuff that they're playing in the near future, including this Friday. I'm going to check out a double feature of Gone with the Pope and Massacre Mafia Style, the two Duke Mitchell films that we did on the podcast many moons ago. So I'm looking forward to that.
I think, Bowman, you missed that episode, right?
Correct. Yeah, I don't know anything about these movies.
This is your chance, man. Fly out to Cincinnati, tour the locations of The Killing of a Sacred Deer, and take in the two Duke Mitchell flicks.
Might as well. I got nothing else to do these days.
Yeah. It'd be a good chance to get a three-way or whatever.
Yeah. Have sex with me and my wife is what he's saying.
Well, that, but also, that's what they call it at Skyline Chili, right?
Yeah.
When you put your dick in between the chili and the spaghetti.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Sounds like a fun night.
It's up to you, whichever kind of three-way you want to engage in. I think they call it Sin City there in Cincinnati for a reason, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Preferably both. That's my kink, is eating spaghetti.
Speaking of Sin City, I think since last time I talked to you, I've been up and back from Detroit, the Motor City, which is also full of sin. Yeah. You guys ever been to Detroit Rock City?
I've never been.
Yeah, no, I went to Ypsilanti, which is like a suburb of Detroit once, but I've never been to the city proper.
Yeah, it was fun. They've got a chili dog culture up there as well, the Coney dogs. I tried the two classics, the Lafayette and the American. Both were pretty mediocre, but I got to give props to Tony Paco's, a chili dog place in Toledo, Ohio, right before, about an hour away from Detroit. Top notch. So if you're looking for a good Detroit style dog, it's actually in Toledo is where you'll find the best one, in my opinion.
How surprising that the man from Ohio would claim that Ohio has the best Detroit food.
Well, but I did have the original Detroit style pizza at Buddy's,
nice.
and that was a big thumbs up. That was delicious.
I've never had Buddy's, but I've had, there's a couple Detroit style places out here, and I think maybe one of them might even be from a guy who's actually from Detroit, and I love that style of pizza, man. The burnt edges, with all the cheese going right to the edge, and it's greasy as hell, and you can almost taste like the pan itself, I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I also got to check out the historic Redford Theater while I was up there, which is a really cool old school palace style theater out in the suburbs of Detroit that has been very well preserved. It has like this, it's got a balcony, it's got the Wurlitzer organ, but it's also like Japanese themed. Like they have Japanese artwork on the side, on the walls going up the staircase, and it's just like Japanese themed throughout, and it's really cool. And it was the site of the Evil Dead premiere back in 1981. That's where those Detroit boys had their big premiere back in the day. They have a really cool like stone tribute to Detroit horror host Sir Graves Ghastly there. And so I wanted to go there regardless. I didn't care what they were showing, but it turned out we got to see a matinee showing of a movie called The Bachelor and the Bobby Soxer, which is a Cary Grant, Shirley Temple comedy where Shirley Temple's like a teenager that's pining after this 30-year-old man. So not what I would normally go out and see, but nevertheless, to see it in this classic theater was a fun time. And they had the dude playing the organ before and afterwards. They did an intermission where he came back out and played more organ. It was a good time.
Sweet. Yeah, that sounds like a great time. Was it one of those like huge Wurlitzers or just kind of like a standard organ, or
yeah,
the organ is cool?
Yeah, the huge Wurlitzer that raises up out of the stage and raises back down, and it's connected to the huge pipes that are hidden on the sides of the theater by these like kind of like these like balcony facades that make it look like you're like kind of sitting outside, because then they have like a kind of a domed ceiling with a cloud machine. Very cool. And the Wurlitzer sounded great all these years later.
I love it. Meanwhile, the Egyptian Theater here is undergoing another renovation, they announced today, to fix their sound problems introduced from the last renovation that was only like a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah. Well,
so they should have taken some cues from the Redford, I guess, in Detroit.
I guess so. Get some of that Robert Redford money.
He's not connected to it, right?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's been named that since probably before he was born.
Okay, yeah, that's what I would think.
All right. Well, no calls from the junkies this month, unfortunately. But if you'd like to give us a call and get on the show either Junk Food Supper next week or Junk Food Dinner next month, pick up your phone and dial 347-746-JUNK. Tell us about some of the classic theaters in your neighborhood or your thoughts on the best Coney dogs in all the land. That's 347-746-JUNK. Or you can send us an email at jfdpodcast@gmail.com. All right, kids, let's get into a bit of that old nerd news.
From the global resources of junk food dinner worldwide, it's time for Nerd News.
The first piece of nerd news that I have is, how do you guys feel about Brazilian film?
I haven't seen a ton, but I mean, I love City of God.
How do you feel about Brazilian queer film?
Now, I think I may have seen almost zero of those.
How about Brazilian queer crime film from the 70s?
I mean, you're saying things that I want to experience, but I have no prior experience with.
Well,
show me the ropes, Kevin.
Now's your chance, because the fine folks at Kino Lorber have restored and are re-releasing The Devil Queen from 1974. This is, as I mentioned, a Brazilian crime camp social realism film that has pretty much never been seen in the United States. So never been released on video, never had any sort of, I don't even think any sort of theatrical run, but pretty much only played in Brazil. But now it's finally being discovered by audiences outside of Brazil, thanks to Kino Lorber putting this out. It's going to be screening theatrically. You'll be able to catch it in New York and LA on June 12th through the 17th. And then after that, it goes presumably nationwide, but I'm guessing probably to a handful of cool art house theaters around the country. But the movie, I'll just read the description here. Rio de Janeiro's criminal underworld is run by an unexpected boss, Diaba, a femme queen with a taste for power and violence. When the police come after her boy toy, Diaba attempts to find a scapegoat to take the blame, and a plot to dethrone Her Majesty arises. Always clad in glorious, colorful outfits and accessories inspired by Afro-Brazilian culture, Diaba runs a mob of eccentric misfits made up of drag queens, pimps, prostitutes, and queer folks of all stripes. This is directed by Antonio Carlos de Fontoura, and 1974. They released a trailer. It's on Kino Lorber's YouTube page, and yeah, it looks pretty cool. I hope this plays near me. I know it's playing up in Cleveland on the 28th of June, but that looks about as close as it's coming right now. But keep your eyes peeled for this, and hopefully Kino puts this out on Blu-ray 4K as well. But yeah, this looks really cool. Glad stuff like this is kind of getting discovered and getting nicely restored and getting availability outside of its home country, because yeah, this looks like the kind of stuff that would make for a very fun culty screening. But yeah, what do you guys thought? Did you guys check out this trailer, and any interest in The Devil Queen from 1974?
I did see this trailer. It looks very fun. It looks grimy. It looks colorful. It looks dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
All the things I look for. The trailer's a little short, and it doesn't really go into the plot too much. It's just like kind of a collection of like super cool things happening. But it's got me intrigued. I would watch this. Especially now that I know it's directed by my man Kino Lorber, the greatest director of all time.
Yeah, likewise. It looked cool. I like that the main guy kind of looks like Fela Kuti. But like I said before, I don't know anything about this, so I'm excited to learn more.
Very nice.
Well, are you excited to learn more about the greatest director of all time, who isn't Kino Lorber, Sam Raimi? This son of a bitch is going to direct a modern update of the ventriloquist movie Magic. It's an old-timey movie from 19...
I just watched that like 6 months ago or something. That's crazy.
That is weird. That's weird.
I wonder if is he possibly following me on Letterboxd and using that as a spawning point for his script pitches?
It could be. The original is a 1978 movie starring Anthony Hopkins and Anne Margaret, and probably most notable for having that weird-ass fucking puppet that everybody knows of that kind of looks like Anthony Hopkins. Sam Raimi is going to do this. It's going to be written by the two dudes who wrote Freddy vs. Jason and the Friday the 13th remake, and, of course, Send Help, which was Raimi's newest movie that made $1 zillion. So I guess it makes sense that someone would put these guys back together.
Have you guys seen Send Help yet?
Oh, yeah, right, yeah. I liked it a great deal.
I liked it okay.
Okay.
What about you?
I haven't seen it yet. I was going to watch it.
Really?
It's because it's now on one of the streaming services. So, yeah, I was going to check it out.
Well, if you don't see it in the D box, I think you've missed the proper format.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I saw The Devil Wears Prada 2 had D-box screenings. What the hell is that about?
They got to put something in there. I mean, they built the seats, they're going to use them.
Yeah, you can feel like you're walking down the runway during Fashion Week. But yeah, this seems good. I've never seen this original movie, but I like all these people doing this remake, so I'm excited. What do you guys think about this?
Well, I was excited. I was thinking that Sam Raimi was directing a Magic the Gathering movie, but apparently not. But I'll take this Magic ventriloquism dummy movie. Yeah, that's interesting. It's been a long time since I've seen Magic. I saw it back in the VHS days when I was a boy, and yeah, it was creepy at the time. But yeah, I don't really. I mean, these are the kind of movies though. I think they should remake if they're going to remake anything. Stuff that doesn't have a ton of. Maybe there's some people that have a lot of nostalgia wrapped around this, but I feel like this is a good one for a modern interpretation. So I don't know. I'll see what he does with it, but I'll have to wait for the first trailer before I form an opinion.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you that, these are the kinds of movies that should be remade. If anything is going to be remade, is the movies that, maybe didn't nail it the first time around. And I liked this. I don't think I loved it. I think it is kind of forgettable, even, 6 months later. I don't remember a ton of it. But on the flip side, I would say, is this a good idea? Because do younger generations even know what ventriloquism is? Like, are they just going to see this dummy and be like, what the hell is this guy doing with this oversized Funko Pop? You know what I mean?
Well, they probably said the same thing about our generation, but we still made that Goosebumps book a bestseller. I
guess so. Maybe they have to play off that kind of nostalgia for the Goosebumps. But yeah, I love Sam Raimi, so hopefully, this is a big triumph for the guy. Time will tell.
Yep.
Parker, have you ever been to the Vent Haven Museum in Northern Kentucky?
I have not. No. What goes on there?
It's a ventriloquism dummy museum. And yeah, if you want to get weirded out, just stand in a room full of ventriloquism dummies by yourself. You'll get a weird feeling. Because it's basically just like a person's house, but it is like one of the largest collection of ventriloquism dummies, I guess, in the world. And there's just room after room full of these ventriloquism dummies of all shapes, sizes, and dispositions. And yeah, it's eerie walking through there with all of them just looking at you.
I like the sound of that. I mean, in a creepy way. Like, dolls are kind of inherently creepy. And like, I feel like 10% of all dolls are haunted. So I would definitely like to check that out.
Yeah, the odds of one of these sons of bitches being haunted is through the roof in this place.
All right, well, I got some nerd news about a Blu-ray box set that's coming out that hopefully is not haunted itself. It's the Susanna Empress of Darkness Blu-ray set coming out from Severin. The description here says, she's known as an icon, a cult legend, and an inspiration for modern scream queens. Nearly 2 decades after her passing, she remains Indonesia's ultimate scream queen of horror. In this 3-disc, 6-film collection, discover her for the very first time, or as you've never experienced her before. So we have experienced Susanna before. We did, what did we do? We did the Snake Lady movie, and what was the other one that we did? We did another one.
Yeah.
Had a name that was similar to the documentary, which is included in this box set. The documentary is Susanna, the Queen of Black Magic. That's in the box, along with 5 movies that I haven't seen. They are Packed with the Forces of Darkness, White Crocodile Queen, something called Malam Satu Suro, which I got no clue what that is, Kliwon Friday Night, also not really sure, and Ghost Ambulance. That sounds kind of fun. So good on Severin for, restoring and releasing, I think for the first time for all 5 of these films, perhaps, in North America, these cool Susanna movies. I like the couple that we saw before, and I'm excited to see more of these, especially if they got good pixels. But did you guys see this? You got any level of interest in this?
Yeah, I would see this. Yeah, watching these for the podcast was cool, and yeah, I'm interested to see more. And yeah, like you said, a lot of these kind of look like they're like kind of all over the place. I don't know if these are all kind of mystic, black magic style movies, or looks like some of the, Ghost Ambulance. Who the hell knows what that could be about? But yeah, I'm willing to check these out. That's the thing though with Severin. They put out these box sets and they're great, but it is a big chunk of cash to spend at once.
Yeah.
So,
there's a sale going right now. I think it's normally $80 for this guy. It's $55 right now. So, for 6 movies,
yeah,
$55, not too bad.
Yeah, they also recently put out, or are putting out a disco, an Italian disco movie box set. I think it has.
Oh, that's fun.
Like 7 or 8 Italian ripoffs of Saturday Night Fever, essentially,
with all those like fake John Travoltas.
Yeah,
those are fun. I've seen a couple of those.
Yeah.
I think the movie that we did was just called The Queen of Black Magic, which is confusing because the documentary is Susanna Colin, The Queen of Black Magic. But
yeah, and there's also a 2019 remake called The Queen of Black Magic to muddy the waters even further.
Oh, great.
Yeah. But yeah, I will definitely check that out.
Yeah, I would watch those too. I liked those movies so far we saw.
I feel like of these titles, maybe White Crocodile Queen has me most intrigued, but I'll do some research and I'll come back with an official recommendation.
Yeah, it sounds like a Grand Funk Railroad song or something.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, I think we are going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we are going to get into our first movie of the evening. And that is Hot Times, a.k.a. A Hard Day for Archie from 1974. So stick around.
There's a nerd that's in for a hard time.
Hi, Archie. Rise and shine.
Poor Archie. He was so wound up he was ready to throw an ing bing.
What are you doing under there anyway, Meatball?
None of your nosy little business.
Folks, this felucca is surrounded by some of the finest boobocracy this side of the Grand Tetons. Engulfed by sex, he is in for some hard times, and you are in for some hot times.
Tonight's New Year's Eve. We have my parents' house all to ourselves, and we can make love in my parents' bed.
Hot times will turn your belly into jelly.
You mean to tell me I'm not going to get any nookie for 4 weeks?
Oh, Archie, I wish you wouldn't put it that way.
You can't get laid on Times Square New Year's Eve. You can't get laid.
Will Archie's wet dreams turn into hot times, or will he end up chewing a lone Nabisco? Find out, see Hot Times with a cast of thousands, featuring the colorific Ronnie Lux.
Make like there's an egg in your shoe and beat it.
Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing!
You give me a quarter each, man. I let you see more.
Yes, you'll see all of this and much, much more in Hot Times.
Steal me, will you?
Huh?
If things weren't up and coming for Archie now, they never would be. His aspirations titillated by being next of kin to some of the eagerest beavers in Fun City.
I would only...
Betty! Archie!
The jowl is on Spielberg! He grabbed my man by the jewels! What you do?
You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll kiss your brains goodbye in Hot Times!
Ronnie, I need you!
Find your every sexual fantasy fulfilled in Hot Times. Hot Times will heat up your blowtorch, fan the flames of your desire, and warm the cockles of your heart. See Hot Times! Hot Times, the erotic misadventures of a sexually maladjusted teenager. Hot Times, soon at your neighborhood sin bin.
Welcome back to Junk Food Dinner. The first film we're going to be taking a look at on the show this evening is A Hard Day for Archie, a.k.a. Hot Times. This is a movie that was originally recommended to us by none other than Kyle from Kentucky.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, many, many years ago.
Damn. This is a deep cut for anybody to recommend.
Yeah.
So, kudos.
I believe this is the one he referred to as having so much wool in reference to pubic hair, you could knit a sweater. So,
and it does feature like a very proto-Porky's-esque peeping scene in a girl's locker room.
Very much so. So, yeah, I could see why Kyle from Kentucky would be a fan of this, being a Porky's man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is a movie that has been very hard to find for a long time. And part of the reason why I hadn't chosen it up until this point was because the only copies that were available were old VHS rips that looked pretty terrible. And when Parker mentioned that he was going to be doing Josie and the Pussycats, which is part of the Archie universe, I was like, well, maybe now's as good a time as any to do A Hard Day for Archie. And I was happy to find out that a new restoration of it was available streaming through the Roku channel of all places. So you do have to put up with a few commercials, but in exchange, you get probably the best Hot Times, aka A Hard Day for Archie, has ever looked. And so, which even still is not that great. But if you're unfamiliar, A Hard Day for Archie, or Hot Times, as it's probably more commonly known, is a sex comedy film that came out in 1974. And the main reason why most people know this is because it uses character names from the Archie comics, including our main protagonist, Archie, his girlfriend, Betty, Ronnie for Veronica, not Jughead, but Mughead, and a few other characters like Reggie and stuff. But besides the names, that's about as far as the Archie comics, similarities go. I think both.
But Homeboy does wear the red jacket with the letter A on it in a couple scenes.
Sure. I mean, there's a little bit of Archie theming, but I think they tried to distance themselves from Archie for legal reasons and just because laziness. But yeah, I think they were like, well, you can't copyright the names Archie and Betty. But, I think if they tried to make them look too much like the characters, then they might have been on, some shaky ground with the Archie Comics folks. But I think as it stands, because these people look nothing like the Archie characters for the most part and act nothing like them, really.
Yeah, they're very different. Also, I think they never refer to Veronica as Veronica. I think they always just call her Ronnie. So
yeah, which is it's something they refer to Veronica as in the comic quite a bit as well.
Do they say Riverdale at all?
No. Yeah. Well, and so that's the other thing. Riverdale, which is kind of like this, bucolic middle America town, is replaced in here with New York City.
Yeah. Maybe some Long Island too, I think.
For sure. And the Archie gang now is also very New York City, lots of Polish and Italian jokes, thick New York accents.
They hang out at the Lithuanian War Memorial.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember that being in Riverdale.
Yeah. And there's a lot of actual New York City locations in this movie. One of the first scenes in the movie is Archie and Betty getting it on outside the old Shea Stadium. There's a long segment at the end on New Year's Eve in Times Square in 1974, with actual footage of party goers and revelers in Times Square during
long,
74.
Some might say.
Yeah. But this is so the basic plot of this movie. It's a gang of high school kids, Archie Anders, Mughead, and Reggie, and their antics basically trying to get laid. Specifically Archie, who doesn't have a date for New Year's Eve after his girlfriend Betty dumps him for being a creep and just trying to have sex. So he goes. The reason one of the titles is A Hard Day for Archie is he goes throughout the whole day all bricked up with a boner and not being able to release. Although he's being put into very many weird sexual situations, including visiting the set of a porno movie being shot and then being asked to participate, seeing prostitutes, all kinds of fun stuff that would typically not happen in an Archie comic. So this is kind of a weird movie in terms that it was directed by a guy named Jim McBride, and this is kind of a weird outlier in Jim McBride's career. So he started off as kind of a very celebrated, like, underground independent filmmaker, specifically with his 1967 debut film David Holtzman's Diary, which the New Yorker named him one of the 12 greatest living narrative filmmakers after making that film. And then he did, some other kind of arty underground films like Glenn and Rhonda, which is like a post-apocalyptic science fiction drama.
That's a cool movie, actually. I'm surprised that we've never done that.
Yeah. And I guess those movies weren't paying the bills because he took this film in 1974, I think pretty much as just a, let's make something quick and cheap to make some money. And then he would go on. He took like almost a 10-year break, but then came back in 1983 with Breathless with Richard Gere and The Big Easy in 86. He did that Great Balls of Fire biopic of Jerry Lee Lewis with Dennis Quaid in 1989. He kind of came back and became kind of a big director. But in between his gritty underground days and his Hollywood breakout, he directed this weird 1974 sex comedy about the Archies. It played the typical circuits that you expect, grindhouses, drive-ins. It got a VHS release, a very small VHS release. I think it's pretty hard to find back in the early 80s. And then after that, it kind of just languished in obscurity, never getting a DVD or Blu-ray release up until recently when it, like I said, got a nice restoration and is now streaming on the Roku channel and hopefully gets a disc to go with it. Because I don't know, I thought this movie was fun. It's a bad movie. Let's just be real about it. It's not a good film. It smacks of, something, like I said, shot quick and with very little preparation. It's poorly lit. It's poorly edited. The sound is poorly recorded. The dialogue is often drowned out by the background music or
weird censorship noises.
Yeah. It's, the jokes are stupid. The plot is, ramshackle, and it's just genuinely just of poor quality. There's just no bones about it. But I think what this movie is fun for, if nothing else, is, like I said, those kind of on the street New York City location shots. And, as dumb as this movie is, like I was saying, Jim McBride was a pretty talented, underground filmmaker. So it does have some cool kind of underground vibes to it in some parts, just this collection of weirdos, people that you probably normally wouldn't see on screen in 1974, just local misfits and goofballs that he probably knew through the, whatever scenes he was running in New York City at the time. And there's, like I said, a lot of kind of guerrilla filmmaking, like the stuff that on the rainy New Year's Eve 1974 and there's a lot of, cool people watching and cool, old signs and marquees and neon lights, on display.
Including that one kid that just dives right into view of the camera so that he can just stare down the barrel of the lens.
Yeah. And, while the kids in this movie, and I use the term kids obviously loosely, most of these people are probably in their 30s, they're not great actors, but they're amusing enough. And there are some fun performances. Like, I think the guy playing the porno director in this was pretty amusing. And, if you can laugh at a Polish or Italian joke, you might get a few laughs out of this. But overall, it is kind of just like a cheesy, less good Porky's, but as a kind of cultural curiosity and as something that is kind of loosely related to the world of Archie Comics, I think it is a fun kind of just oddity in the world of 70s sexploitation. So I'm glad that there's a nicer version out there on Roku that you can watch after years and years of bad quality VHS rips, from, shady sources. But yeah, I'd say if you have, if you don't mind watching it through the Roku channel, I'd say, and you don't mind a lot of pubic hair and weird 70s nudity, I'd say check out Hot Times, aka A Hard Day for Archie. But what did you guys think of this weird movie?
Well, I had never seen this one before, of course, and I'm not here to judge because I do have a mountain of Disney Duck comic books in my closet, but I've never once been an Archie's man. So I feared when I was watching this that maybe some of it was lost on me. Actually, I've never been an Archie's man to the point where I couldn't even remember the title of this. I kept searching for Hard Times, which is the Charles Bronson street boxing flick from around the same time. But yeah, this is a pretty obscure movie. The only actor in this that even has a picture on Letterboxd is the guy that plays the coach.
Yeah.
Who appears as a cop in Christmas Evil and some other small roles like that. But even he is not like a well-known actor or anything like that. Most of these actors have no other credits, but There is one notable exception. The small role of Bonnie is played by Rhea Ruggiero, who has exactly 2 other credits. She plays a vaudeville dancer in The Godfather Part 2. Okay, cool. But she's also the famous Lips from the Rocky Horror Picture Show trailer.
Oh, no shit.
Not the movie, which was Patricia Quinn, but there's different Lips in the trailer where she kind of explains the plot of the movie. And yeah, that's her Lips. Also the taxi driver in this is a guy, Jack Barron, who is seemingly a friend of Bob Dylan's, I guess, because he's got like a couple other credits as like producers on Bob Dylan things in the 70s and nothing else. But, a weird eclectic group of no-names, really. But in a way, the casting is kind of an asset because much like when you're watching like a hardcore porno from this time period, you get to soak up all of these fully unfiltered New York accents, the kind that would definitely have been like sanded down if these people were to ever appear in a major motion picture or on television or something. You're not going to get these accents. So kind of flashed me back to, listening to Howard Stern as a kid. And I definitely enjoyed it, even if there are several instances where the actors clearly forget their lines for a moment. I was still charmed by these guys.
Well, and I was going to say, if you do like this movie and wish it was a hardcore porno, there are versions of this that were released with hardcore scenes inserted, not actually filmed with these actors, but they inserted hardcore just mixed in with this movie for screening at porno theaters.
Maybe we'll get those on the eventual disc release, hopefully, because that's not in the version that's on Roku right now. That was provided by a company called Multicom Entertainment that I don't really know anything about, but good on them for scanning what I think was probably just like a release print of this and getting it up on streaming.
How did they get the porno for the other version? Like, did they just use like stock footage porno, or like, did they shoot additional porno?
Yeah.
Or
well, I think they probably just shot the inserts, right?
Yeah, exactly. They probably, it's just close-ups of, dicks going into pussies and then splice that in with, that scene where they're shooting the porno movie, and voila.
They wouldn't be adding fully new scenes. They're just, extending these currently softcore scenes to make them hardcore. That'd be my guess.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I was thinking like they were just like buying sex scenes from like other porno movies and like hoping that they kind of match up. Like I didn't realize that.
That's probably not too far from the truth.
Yeah, that might be one approach.
All right, I think that would be funny to see. Maybe like that scene in Orgasmo where they get that stunt cock. And it's a black guy. I like that. I like that kind of non-continuity with pornography.
I think technically that would be a different film. If we do want to review the XXX cut of this someday, I think we're well within our rights.
Yeah, I think so. We still got to do that made-for-TV Archie movie where he's like 40.
Oh, yeah.
So, we can do 2/3 of a theme show again.
Yeah, and it will give me some opportunity to learn more about Archie because, like I said, I don't know much about Archie, so I didn't really know even what to look for here in terms of, like, is this nailing Archie? I kind of got the feeling that it was a very loose adaptation. It does seem like the narration that we get in a couple of scenes has the flavor of Archie. It's got those kind of old-timey turns of phrase. So that's something, I guess. But to be honest, a lot of it to me felt more like a proto-Orgasmo than anything Archie. But there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not against a dumb, fairly amateur sex comedy, especially when it goes further than any others in terms of nudity at this time. I think for 1974, this is a lot of nudity on screen in a movie that is arguably a movie and not just a porno. Like, this is arguably a sex comedy. So, like, you could presumably present this in a context where it's not just for sexual gratification. And judging by those guidelines, it's a lot of bush on screen. So, what else did I like about this? I like the part where that one girl says prevert instead of pervert. That's fun. I like that the pre-Porky's peeping scene has glass blocks on the side walls of the ladies' shower. I never seen a shower before that, in a school that had those glass blocks, but it certainly was aesthetically pleasing. They also shoot one part of this in some abandoned U.S. government building where you can see like the signage is like falling off the building, but it still says like United States. I have no idea what that building was, but it looked cool and kind of wild that they had a lady flashing her tits in that building. I like the baby bottle bong that they used to smoke loco weed.
Yeah, they smoke reefer in the locker room. Yeah, they've got like a bowl made out of a glass baby bottle.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is back then they had those glass baby bottles. I bet you that worked pretty good. The way that it filled up with smoke, I was like, wow, that looks like a pretty good chamber. Just kind of the right size. Like you said, this is not a perfect movie. A lot of the scenes go on much longer than they need to. I would say especially that Times Square part, as much as I do appreciate the historical documentation. And of course, the jokes could be funnier. These actors could be better. There could have been an actual story here. But despite all of that, I did find these naked women to be visually interesting to me, a viewer. In terms of the picture quality, this is probably the best that this is ever going to look. But man, it would be nice if there was like an original camera negative out there somewhere and we could get like a nice scan of this with all of the colors of the rainbow, because as it stands, this movie is still kind of stuck in the brown age. And also it's cropped. I will say, if you have a copy of the VHS, do hold on to it, because that is an open matte presentation. And if you were in the mood to, flip through it and try and hunt down some more bush shots, that would be just outside of the frame of the widescreen crop, you'll need the videotape to do that. So don't throw it away. Other than that, I think the videotape is pretty much the same as this. Like I was confused at first as to whether or not the Roku version, the censoring of the dialogue was exclusive to Roku, but that seems to be present in the videotape versions as well.
Yeah, it's weird. There's like a weird like train whistle noise over some of the more explicit sexual talk.
Yeah,
like it's not all of it.
Not all of it. Yeah,
right.
There's definitely things where you're like, well, if you were going to censor anything, you would have censored that, but then they don't.
Right.
So I don't know what that was. I felt like maybe it was for comedic effect, but
yeah, I don't know.
Who knows? I got lucky with Roku. I didn't have any commercial breaks. They told me I was going to have 5. They didn't actually play a single one. I think the secret sauce here is that I started the movie. About 10 seconds into it, I paused it because I had to go do some other stuff. And I came back to it like 20 minutes later and then played it. Maybe that's the secret sauce. I don't know. But I did not get any commercials, which was nice. So yeah, overall, I'm glad that this is available, and I'm glad that I watched it. You know, it's not a stone cold classic, but it's a pretty weird curio, and I think you would probably know if this is the kind of thing that you're interested in, and if it is, I think you'll like it, and you'll be glad to know that it's out there now. So yeah, hopefully this gets a disc someday, and you know, maybe even a full-on, you know, new scan, but until then, it's cool that this is even available in this fairly watchable quality.
Well, I agree with Jens. I like that this is watchable, and, and that it's no longer crumb bum VHS quality. This movie's like so sort of formless and plotless and kind of like, you know, you're sort of just a fly on the wall documentary style, kind of almost like that. Yeah, I feel like
they're like sketches without premises. Each scene.
What's that?
Each scene is like a comedy sketch without a premise, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's like they just kind of like drop you into like different situations and like kind of hope for the best in terms of entertainment value. Because like there's not really, yeah, like you said, like there's no really real premise. And then, yeah, like a lot of the scenes like kind of, they don't build to anything. Like it's just a lot of now we're here, now we're here, now we're here. And that's not a criticism necessarily, but like those kind of movies in, you know, 280p, unwatchable. So I'm glad that this looks good. Because yeah, you can kind of like relish in sort of how cool this looks, like this time period, this sort of like ugly 70s, like normally like kind of post 60s. 70s with like these fun huge cars and like kind of getting into that brown era of the 70s, but like with a little of that 60s flourish left. Like yeah, I feel like a lot of what's going on here in the background is fun to look at, the cars and the fashions and things like that. So I'm glad that it has some quality. I'm becoming a baby Archiesman. I've read a couple of collections. You know, I haven't gone crazy with it. Like mostly like compilation stuff, like, you know, like the best of the 80s or whatever.
Yeah, and I apologize. This movie is not going to help you understand the Archies anymore.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, there's not much in here that's identifiable to me from the Archie comics. They don't even call him Chick one time, which we all know is... It's very important to the Archie lore.
We all know this.
And yeah, so, but I mean, you know, it's cute to see, like, you know, I mean, at least they're sort, you know, it's kind of vague, you know, it belongs in the Archie world. If Carson Daly can be in the Archie world, then these guys certainly can. So yeah, it's fun. It's a little horny. It's a little silly.
A little horny.
I mean, it's very horny, actually. You're right.
Yeah.
It's more horny than silly. Especially that opening. That opening is perverse with like the sister and the morning wood and all this at 7:30.
Yeah.
I don't know how a human can be horny at 7:30 in the morning like poor Archie is here, but he's calling people up.
Well, that's the idea. You know, they're teenagers. They're horny all the time.
Well, that's true. That's a good point.
Later on, you got the dad perving on his daughter in the shower. I mean, yeah, this is...
And Archie perving on his sister in the shower.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's sickening what's going on here in Riverdale.
Hey, it was just ahead of its time. The new incest porn would be the hot trend in 50 years.
Yeah, true. Well, ahead of its time still nonetheless, but like the Taboo movies were just a few years away, so it probably...
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. incest porn is cyclical. Every generation gets their own incest porn fetish. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this is fun. It's charming. I like the basketball scene. They're playing basketball. That's fun to me. I like that coach. He was wacky. This could have used more Jughead.
I think you mean Mughead.
Of course. My mistake. Of course.
He's not even wearing a crown.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this is fun. It's like not great, but yeah, it's like, I mean, it's silly enough that you'll be entertained, and like shocking enough, I guess, that you'll be entertained through most of it. So, I had fun.
Very nice. Well, yeah, if you're even the least bit curious, like I said, it is available to stream right now on the Roku channel. So check that out under the title Hot Times.
Not Hard Times.
No, Hot Times.
Yep.
But yeah, that just wraps it up for Hot Times, aka A Hard Day for Archie from 1974. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to get into our next film of the evening, and that is Lake of Illusions from 1982, so stick around.
I'm a fan of Japanese movies.
Metaphysical style. MAHO. Metaphysical style. With the good day style.
Hypothesis, scientific parabolas, my lyrical projectile puncture, chronicle matter, bisected injected reflections, computating thoughts through threads of RAM stored in a floppy. T1 line connect intersect, riding brain waves like a silver surfer wireless mod in hand. Paraphrasing sandy swords, I get metaphysical.
It's a good day. Good day. It's metaphysical style.
It's a good day.
MAHO. Metaphysical style. With the good day style. And that fabulous clothes you wear. And the way you weave your hair.
Industrial toxic fumigation, symmetrical color resorts on the expressway through your skull piece, that the tethering of the existing astrodomes in the form of the cats and the dogs, defogging the mind's eyes view in the never-ending quest for cheddar. Just call me Minnie, as the bar rises on the horizon for room service. Nervous infections and chicks in the metaphysical landscape.
Metaphysical style.
It's a good day. It's a good day.
Good day.
It's a good day. It's a good day.
Good day.
It's a good day. It's a good day. It's a good day. It's a good day. Apocalyptic fusion eclipse, secondary thought processes, interjection of introspection. Reflective imagery burned into the cornea of interdimensional trans-global marketing schemes. Loop, dreams, culminating of horizontal posturing, intertwined in sheet music, epic in proportion, dramatic implosions, inclusive of the masses. I get metaphysical.
Metaphysical.
It's a good day.
Oh yeah.
It's a good day.
Good day.
It's a good day.
Good day.
It's a good day.
Miho, Hator to the I. Yo, Tori.
It's a good day. It's a good day.
It's a good day.
It's a good day.
Good day. Good day. Damn, it was a good day. Page is still blowing up. Miho, Hator to the I. Yo, Tori. It's a good day.
Junk Food Dinner. The next movie on the show this week is going to be, or this month, is going to be Lake of Illusions. This is a 1982 film directed by Shinobu Hashimoto, a guy who's known mostly as Kurosawa's primary screenwriter throughout his career. He wrote 8 movies for Kurosawa, including Rashomon, Seven Samurai, Throne of Blood, The Hidden Fortress. In total, the guy wrote scripts for over 80 movies and directed a pair of dramas in 1959 and 1961 that these days are mostly forgotten. Anyhow, in 1982, the guy had not worked in a bit. His screenwriting career had dwindled in the mid-1970s. But in 1982, he released this, his first directorial work in over 20 years, and sort of his last major work overall. I think it was a relatively highly anticipated release at the time, given his credentials, and also given that Toho spent a ton of money making this movie. It was supposed to be the tentpole release of their 50th anniversary as a studio, but I think audiences at the time turned out to be turned off by it, and it never really found supporters. Anyhow, I ended up catching this movie about 9 months ago when I came across a copy with pretty nice pixels and subtitles, fan subs that somebody had kindly cranked out on their own. And
I think there's a Japanese Blu-ray that came out recently.
Yeah.
But no English subtitles.
Yeah, there's a Japanese Blu-ray and a Japanese DVD, but I don't think it's ever been released anywhere outside of Japan, and no official subtitles exist. But the English subtitles that you can get from, the fan that made them are good enough, I think. But like I said, I've been thinking about this movie since I saw it. It is the kind of movie that I really want more people to check out. I love these kind of surreal Japanese dramas, and most of them are still really underexposed outside of Japan. There are things from Japan that get a lot of attention. Your movies, Sonny Chiba movies get a ton of attention, or these days, actually, Nikatsu Roman pornos are starting to get more attention. But there's certainly a lot of areas of Japanese cinema that don't really get seen outside of the country. And I think these kind of 1980s surreal dramas are among my favorite. Anyhow, if you don't want to be spoiled, go watch this movie yourself on archive.org. You can get a copy of those pixels from there. You will need to grab separate subtitles, but if you go to opensubtitles.org, I think you can get the same subs that I have, and I think you'll be really glad that you did. But yeah, anyhow, the story of this movie revolves around a young woman named Michiko. She's a sex worker in a Turkish bathhouse in the resort town next to Lake Biwa, which is a beautiful and ancient lake sort of near Kyoto, named after the Japanese musical instrument, the biwa. This particular bathhouse that she works in has like a historical gimmick. So she's actually kind of cosplaying as Oichi, who is a well-known countess from the Sengoku period. When she's not at the bathhouse, she jogs around the lake with her big white dog, Shiro. She also carries a big heart rate monitor with her to check her heart rate. It was just kind of cool to see this like 1982 version of a Fitbit that she's got to lug around. But anyhow, one day while jogging, she hears a mysterious flute song. She can't quite find where the song is coming from on that day, but she makes a promise to herself to someday find this mysterious flute-playing stranger. And on a subsequent jog, she does. The guy is jamming out on his flute at the top of a cliff overlooking the lake, and they meet. She's excited to meet him, but he says that he's got a split town. He's going off to Tokyo soon, so they don't really get to chat for very long. And by the way, I think you could critique this flute guy in this story all you want for the fact that motherfucker only learned one song on the flute. He's playing the same goddamn song through this whole fucking 3-hour movie. But the song's landing him chicks, so I don't think you can complain too much. This girl was into it. Anyhow, in a cruel twist of fate the next day, while she's at the bathhouse, her dog is found dead on the shore of the lake. And not just dead, but murdered. So Oichi / Michiko vows to find the killer of her dog. And that's the setup of the movie. And we will talk more about where it goes if you guys like, but that's the basic setup of the movie. From there, we get to hang out in all of these cool places, like the resort town itself is super cool. I love this red light district in the Lake Biwa town. It's incredible that they had like that concentration of neon signage in a city that's like not Tokyo. It's just this tiny little town, but they somehow have the most insane volume of neon signs in that red light district. The lake itself is super cool. You know, historically, Japanese people place a lot of spiritual weight on the land itself. You know, they tend to say things like, you know, spirits are in the mountains or in the lakes. And when you see a lake like this, you kind of get why they say that. I mean, it's a fucking gorgeous looking environment. I should also mention, as I mentioned to you guys off air, that it's well known as the site of the annual International Birdman Rally, which is a fun event that I recommend you look up on YouTube. But I love this environment. I also love the fact that it's seemingly that this environment is seemingly available to a woman working on a hooker's salary, that she can afford like to live right there lakeside in this beautiful house in the most beautiful environment on earth. And then later on, you know, in the movie, we do go to Tokyo. Her journeys to find the killer of her dog bring her to the big city. And that looks great, of course, as you would imagine. And I just love that we get all of these environments. You know, we get nature, we get small towns, we get big city, we get modern day. Later on in the movie, we get flashbacks to historical times. The story traverses, you know, these fancy Tokyo office buildings, but also these rundown small town love hotels. And the way that they shoot all of it, I think, is so beautiful and extremely immersive. You know, the camera is embedded in these dense forests and serene lake shores, and yet it always feels very fluid and like it's always in the perfect place at every time. You also get to see all 4 seasons from the same vantage point on that cliff where the flute player plays, which, you know, says to me that they probably spent several months shooting this thing, which it's cool. And I think well worth it to get all of those seasons captured on film, you know, and I can see why this movie is not for everybody. I'm kind of expecting at least a little bit of pushback on it being a slow movie, you know, and that's certainly true. This is a movie that's not in a hurry. They never miss a chance in this to give you an establishing shot. Not that I'm complaining. I mean, I think that this is a great environment to spend time in, so I loved it. And there is some action, you know, there are a pair of great chase scenes in this, kind of like medium-paced chase scenes, but these foot race marathons between you know, the victim and her would-be source of vengeance. And I love those scenes because, you know, they're tense as hell. And also they kind of have that vibe of like a walking tour video that you might watch on YouTube where, you know, I do this sometimes when I want to, you know, revisit a city that I've been to, or maybe even experience a city that I've never been to. You can get these walking tour videos on YouTube that are just kind of, you know, just immersing you on a sidewalk, basically. This is like that, but, you know, slightly faster paced and with more labored breathing sounds. So that's something. There's also a gaijin hooker character in this that is very mysterious, Rosa. I really like Rosa in this. And I'm sure we'll talk more about her, but I think my favorite thing about the movie is just how it refuses to be just one movie, that it's willing to be all of these different things. It gives you all of these different flavors of Japanese cinema. Sometimes it's like a revenge story. Sometimes it's just like a quiet, meditative, you know, reflection on Japanese traditions or history or, you know, things like this. But, you know, I thought this was a cool movie that more people should see. Hopefully you guys found some things to vibe with this. But what did you think of Lake of Illusions?
Well, I think you're right that this movie's slow. I think that's ironic because it's a movie about running. Very weird. But before I get ahead of myself, I obviously have never seen this movie. Never heard of it. I guess that brings us up to speed, I suppose. Yeah. I mean, yeah, this is a very slow movie. Like, when I was writing up the intro thing for Jennifer to say earlier, she was like, "Are you sure you want to mention the part about the dog dying? It's kind of a spoiler." And that part feels like a spoiler because it happens 45 minutes into the movie. But I mean, that is like kind of like just the end of Act 1. It's just like this movie's just twice as long as normal movies. So like that isn't really a spoiler. Like it's the hook for the movie.
I wouldn't have put it in a plot description. I'm a little bit pissed that is like easily available in all of the plot descriptions of the movie because I think it is kind of a spoiler.
I mean, how do you describe anything about this movie without saying that though? That's like being like, "Oh, Rambo, he comes home and then, he's home." Like, I mean, like, right? Like, I mean, what else is there to say about this movie if you don't mention the dog?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate in that this movie is structured in such a way that it's difficult to discuss without kind of tainting the experience of enjoying it. I think maybe that's because it's light on plot for a movie that is almost 3 hours. Like only like 10 things happen in it or something. So, if you remove the surprise of the very few things that actually do happen in this, I think, maybe you're losing a bit.
Maybe. I mean, that's also like the only reason anybody would watch this. If you say it's just a movie about running, then...
Yeah, fair. Yeah. Which, again, maybe is why nobody ever goes and watches this thing. It's hard to even describe without ruining it. And then, I mean, if you do want to go all the way into the end of it, very hard to describe what happens in the third act of this movie. Who even knows?
Well, yeah, there is that. I will want to talk about that, so I will be spoiling the end of this movie. This movie goes on a lot of tangents. Some of them are fun, like you said, like the one lady. What's her name? Rhoda. Rosa. She's fun. She's a saucy dame. I like her. Some of the stuff going on there, like certainly unnecessary to the movie. These things about bankers and geishas and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, so it turns out, and spoiler again, it turns out that Rosa is like CIA or something. I don't think they give you the agency specifically, but she's some kind of like a spy. And she's working in this whorehouse because that's what a lot of spies end up doing, because it's a good way to get intel on powerful people. But
I thought you were going to say it's a good way to make a little money.
Well, that too, sure, yeah. In 1982 Japan, you got to get that money however you can.
Certainly. Yeah, like that's something certainly this movie does not need. But I mean, it's fun. It's one of the funner parts of the movie, so I'm glad it's there, I suppose.
And they use it later on. Like, it gives her a kind of plausible way to get the intel on the guy that she's trying to track down, because suddenly she's got a friend in the CIA. Because you saw how difficult it was to find, like, even a photo of a record producer. You could look at every goddamn record in Tower Records in Japan in 1982, and none of them actually have a photo of the guy on it.
That's true. They didn't have any goddamn Wikipedias back then.
No, certainly not.
One thing that's extra to this movie that I feel like we don't need is the biography, like the biopic about what's his name? Nobunaga? Is that the warlord emperor?
Yeah, and Oichi, his sister.
Yeah, I don't think we need that. That'd be like if you're watching, to go back to Rambo, like you're watching Rambo First Blood, and then like you're like an hour and 15 minutes into it, and then all of a sudden there's just like a 45-minute thing about like the time John Wilkes Booth shot Lincoln or something. It's like, it was just like would not make any sense whatsoever.
Well, they use it to give her kind of the revelation that she needs to feel like self-empowered, like in the weird coincidence of the flute guy that she's been pining after has this connection to this historical figure that she named herself after, not even knowing anything about this lady's story, you know. I think there is something there.
Okay. So then, all right. Well,
it's an unconventional move, for sure, to take what might be a 45-minute long detour to give us like an entirely different movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, unconventional. But I think that they weave it in.
I mean, the movie stops abruptly for this to happen. Like, I don't think it's weaved in whatsoever.
I mean, thematically, it's weaved in.
Well, kind of. So, okay. All right. So, to go back to my metaphor, then, it would be like doing that in Rambo to explain why his name was Abraham Rambo instead of John Rambo, I guess.
Okay.
Or maybe he was named after John Wilkes Booth.
Oh, that's a good point. All right, now this is starting to make sense. So I didn't care for that. I liked the
even if those
too.
scenes did feature like the largest number of decapitated heads we've seen in a single scene in a long time.
I mean, yeah, I like that part.
It was like 100 decapitated heads or something.
Yeah, I do like all those decapitated heads. A lot of it looks a little cheap too. Is like, I mean, this whole movie kind of looks cheap. I don't know what they were working with here, but like, it's like very overlit.
Well, I think that's maybe the most insane thing they've ever said. To critique the photography in this movie on any level, I think is an insane thing.
So it's overlit. This historical stuff looks flat, and it looks like a bad PBS show because it is too much light.
That's craziness.
And then we get to the end. I got to talk about this end because it is.
You want to talk about the outer space ending, or do you want to talk about the foot race?
I'm not even registering that outer space stuff.
Okay.
I'm not even counting
the foot race. The foot race is sick, right? Don't you? I mean, so there's 2 foot races, and man, that second foot race where she's like barefoot. I think they're both barefoot. It's crazy, and it goes on forever.
It's one of the silliest things I've ever seen. It feels like a Neil Breen movie or something, because like, it's these 2 people slowly jogging, like neither one of them is working up a real sweat. Like, they're basically speed walking.
But if you do that for like a full hour, it's pretty exhausting, dude.
But why are they doing it for a full hour? Why doesn't she? They're in crowded city streets.
Why are they fighting Dracula, for God's sakes?
Why doesn't she say, "That guy touched my breast. Stop him"? Why doesn't she bend down and pick up a rock to beat him with? He's not dodging it. He's out of breath. Why, like, throw the knife at him? Like, it plays out like an Austin Powers joke where, like,
you think throwing a knife at somebody running away from you is going to do any level of damage?
I think so. I've seen Rambo do it.
Video game world that you live in.
Rambo did it.
Oh, Rambo's got those big ass biceps.
Well, I mean, that's a good point.
Chico's just working with a standard, 1982 Japanese lady's body, and it does not have those kind of guns.
Well, I feel like that's sexist.
Yeah, well, you know what?
I mean, like, it feels like an Austin Powers joke. Like it feels like it's supposed to be like a high speed race, but like the 2 people are in like go-karts, or not like golf carts even. It's like it just feels wrong, and it's not even shot in like an exciting way. Like, there's not like quick cuts to convey motion and travel. Like, the dude just like locks down the camera, and you're watching them run across the frame in real time. Like,
you don't want quick cuts. That would ruin the tension.
There's no tension.
The tension is will she get her revenge on this dude that killed her dog? You didn't like this dog? You didn't like Shiro? You didn't think it was brutal and depressing when this fucking dog got murdered on screen? I guess you don't like dogs.
I like dogs. I have a Japanese dog myself. I happen to like Japanese dogs.
I don't know. I'm not convinced. I thought you would have been invested in this lady's quest for vengeance.
No, but like, I mean, you know how like cinematic language works. Like, if you have a really long shot, like a super wide shot, and you have two people going through from left to right in the shot, like slowly. It takes them 30 seconds to get across. That reads as slow cinematically, right? Like you understand
not watch
that?
Sorcerer? Did you not watch The Wages of Fear? Like their tension is derived from a methodical pace.
No,
it's not tense if they're running as fast as possible. It might be exciting. That's different than tense.
I've seen Vantage Point, and it's a very tense movie, and it's fast as hell.
Okay. Well,
same with like a movie like Death Proof. There's a lot of very fast, very tense movies out there in the world.
Well, maybe there are some slow tense movies as well.
I don't think that's possible.
Okay, well, certainly is a slow movie. I'm not going to argue that point. If you hate slowness, this is the wrong movie.
Yeah, very slow, even when it's supposed to be fast.
And then they go to outer space, or the one.
And then they go outer space. I don't want to talk about. I'm going to pretend that it doesn't exist. So yeah, this movie's not for me. Like, it's more engaging than I think like a 2 hour and 40-minute movie where nothing happens, normally would be. So I'll give it credit for that. But yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot here.
Yeah, like you, I had never heard of this movie before. I think, as we mentioned, the fact that it's never had any sort of release in the United States is probably the main reason. But yeah, I am always down to check out a new Toho movie, being a fan of the studio itself. But yeah, this is a very different movie than most Toho films that you would probably be watching. No giant monsters, no aliens, no real crazy special effects or anything like that. But I will agree with you, Sean. There is a lot of beauty on screen. This is a very good-looking movie, I think. I think both in the fact of it capturing just the natural landscape of the area, both the kind of picturesque beaches and mountains and lakes, as well as the cool urban environments that are also captured on film. There's also a lot of beauty in the star, Riko Nanjo, who I think is a very beautiful woman and a good actress, and I think she does a good job in this role. And yeah, just overall, this movie looks great, and I totally get your point, about the slow, methodical pace of this and kind of letting you soak in the atmosphere and really kind of take in a lot of this beautiful, scenery and photography that is happening, because I do agree. I think it looks really good. And I think this new Blu-ray restoration that's out there really captures that. And I think this would be a beautiful movie to see, especially on the big screen. But yeah, because it does really capture a place and time. And I felt like I kind of knew this area a little bit after spending 2 hours and 40 minutes there. But I also agree that it is long. I mean, and in the fact that it's long, there, at least for me, and again, I think your mileage will vary in this department depending on how willing you are to kind of, immerse yourself and kind of sit in these environments and these shots and these scenes and these scenarios that, for probably a lot of people's pacing preferences will be on the slow side. And I think that was the case for me. Like, I enjoyed a good chunk of this, but I did find myself getting frustrated a little bit at how drawn out it was. And, there certainly are some scenes and some different things that I think probably could have been edited down or taken out altogether and still convey the same story, still convey the same beauty, still convey the same, atmosphere and all of that, but just in a more kind of concise package. That being said, I don't think this should be like a tight 90 or anything. I get what they're doing, and I think the pace does kind of lend to just the overall vibe and feel of this movie. And I think overall that is a good thing. But yeah, I think going in with the right expectations is important, because quite honestly, I think part of the frustration was me not having my expectations met, because, when this movie starts off, it has a lot of things that I feel like I'm kind of, accustomed to in all the years of Japanese cult cinema watching on this podcast and outside this podcast. You have a young Japanese woman. She's kind of working in, the world of prostitution, and you get a sense that this might be kind of a revenge thing. And I'm not, while I certainly don't want any movie to follow any sort of cookie cutter formula, you do have certain expectations, and you're like kind of hoping for something to kind of pick up or kind of meet those expectations. And so when it doesn't, it can be a little frustrating. And especially when you're, like you guys said, looking at the clock on the movie, and you're like, geez, like, man, we're only an hour into this, and it seems like, not a ton has happened. But, there's enough to look at, and I think the story is engaging enough that despite those frustrations over pacing and the length of the film, I think I got over those pretty quickly. Couple things I just wanted to call out. Was that a real dead dog that they used after the dog is murdered? Mm-hmm. It looked pretty real.
It's a real dog for sure.
Yeah.
My guess is that they gave it some sleeping pills or something. I don't think that they killed that dog.
Okay.
It's a grim scene.
For sure.
They killed that fish, though. That fish was dead as fuck.
Yeah, they definitely killed that fish.
But kudos to that guy that killed the fish that he didn't chop off his own thumb somehow.
God damn, yeah. I was nervous.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, like I said, go in with the right expectations, know that this is a long movie, know that you're going to really soak in the, the photography, the environments, the scenery, and just the general vibes, because despite the pacing, it does a really good job of kind of really, bringing you into this woman's grief of losing her dog, which, it's hard to do those transitions, when you got to come out of an up-tempo number and talk about a goddamn dog dying, but she does it very well. And, yeah, okay. But, no, they do very well convey her grief and her want for revenge, but don't expect like a Yakuza revenge movie or like a Pinky Violence movie. It is not that.
This is not Mermaid Legend.
No. But, if you're, like you said, it does have kind of a weird travel log vibe to it. It does feel like you do get a kind of bird's eye view of like some cool scenes and scenery of 1982 Japan that you probably, might not see elsewhere. So yeah, I think it's definitely worth a watch. Watch it on, if you do watch it on the biggest screen possible.
See, I told you so.
You did. No, you're right. I saw the folly of my ways. I watched about 45 minutes of this, on my computer. I'm like, no, this deserves, at least the TV treatment. So, and it did. It looked really good. So for that, I say check it out. But yeah, just temper your expectations. It's not a high action movie. It's not a revenge movie. It's not a gangster movie or anything like that. It's a methodical, thing. But I think in the long run, it's worth it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I feel like it's so rich with imagery that it will stick in your mind for a while. Like it's kind of, it's like implanting in your brain the memories of a great vacation, a la Total Recall or something. But a vacation in which a dog is brutally murdered. So.
And I do say in the long run, because that is a very long run.
2 of them.
Yeah.
To be honest. Cool. Yeah. Well, also shout out to that 11-face Buddha statue in this movie. Man, that statue is fucking cool looking. And for something to be created so long ago, I think it's from like the year 800 or something, carved out of a single slab of wood. I mean, this thing looks better than anything in any movie made this year. So I say let's get more classic art in movies as well. Why not? But yeah, hopefully this gets a Blu-ray outside of Japan someday. I feel like that does happen sometimes when we review movies, is that they do get Blu-ray treatment. I'm looking at you tomorrow. And so fingers crossed that happens in this case as well. But yeah, that probably about wraps it up for Lake of Illusions. Oh, a movie that also has a Japanese soundtrack LP, I should mention. In addition to the Blu-ray, it's got a soundtrack, which I imagine is just 15 different performances of that same flute song. But
the flutes of the chi.
Exactly. But yeah, that about wraps it up. We'll be taking a quick break, and then we'll come back to talk about Josie and the Pussycats from 2001. So stick around.
I'm a punk rock prom queen, brown paper magazine, hotter than you've ever seen, everywhere and in between. I'm a 10-ticket thrill ride, don't you wanna come inside? I'm a 5-star triple threat, hardest of the hard to get, no one's little red Corvette, ain't you nothing like me yet? 6 whole hours and 5 long days for all your lives to come undone, and those 3 small words were way too late, 'cause you can't see that I'm the one. Sing it, Talina. I'm your late night head rush, ace high royal flush, red velvet orange crush. You just don't impress me much. A glossy double cover spread opened up inside your head. A black cherry paradise, half the sugar, twice the spice. I don't wanna treat you nice. Come on, baby, go me nice. 6 whole hours and 5 long days for all your lives to come undone, and those 3 small words were way too late. Can't you see that I'm the one? It took 6 whole hours and 5 long days for all your lives to come undone, and those 3 small words were way too late, 'cause you can't see that I'm the one. It took 6 whole hours and 5 long days for all your lives to come undone, and those 3 small words were way too late, 'cause you can't see that I'm the one.
For every band, there is a moment when they know they have made it. For one band, this is not that moment.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. You're a great crowd.
Okay, girls, we need the lane now. And your shoes.
They were 3 small-town girls with big-time dreams
Who's a rock star? I am.
who wanted to share their music with the world.
We can't sit around here waiting for it to happen. We are musicians. We should be out there playing music. We do play.
Nobody believed in them,
You know, you suck.
but they believed in themselves.
We're special. Yeah, special ed.
Now, in a world of tough competition,
And that is so sad.
fate is giving the Pussycats the chance of a lifetime.
We'd love for you to sign with Mega Records.
How am I gonna pull this off? I'm a girl from Riverdale. I'm not a rock star.
You gotta believe in yourself.
Things are finally going their way. But between the mania,
Is that Josie?
You're gonna be huge.
the managers,
We decide everything.
What's hot and what's not.
Welcome to your party.
Who else thinks that Fiona's a freak?
and the media
We're gonna be on TRL?
Mm-hmm. This may be the toughest gig they've ever played.
Have you noticed that everything has sort of become all about Josie? Josie.
Josie. Josie.
Josie.
Josie!
Spin around. I made you a rock star. Tell me you don't love that. Forget it.
You know, I never liked you.
No matter what happens, we will always be friends first.
Are you gonna kill me with the guitar?
You messed with the wrong pussycat.
My bad.
Josie and the Pussycats.
Welcome back to Junk Fudge. Let's see, the final movie this evening is Josie and the Pussycats from 2001. This is a movie directed by Deborah Kaplan and Harry Elfont. This is the duo who also directed a movie called Can't Hardly Wait, another 90s classic, which actually gets a funny reference in this movie, where some of the subliminal messaging that we'll talk about leads people to believe that movie was underrated, which is subliminal messaging that worked on me because I like that movie. But this is based, of course, on the Archie Comics, Josie and the Pussycats, about three dames who play in a band. And they dress like cats. There's also a cartoon. In this movie, Josie and the Pussycats are Rachel Lee Cook, who you guys, I'm sure, remember from the This Is Your Brain on Drugs commercial.
Mm-hmm.
Played constantly.
And she's all that?
Yep, exactly. She plays Josie. Rosario Dawson plays Valerie Brown. And Melody Valentine is played by Tara Reid. These three ladies are trying to start a band. They're mostly failing. Riverdale's it doesn't have a good music scene. It seems like they're playing in bowling alleys and stuff like that. They have a manager and a couple of hangers on. Are these people in the comics, Kevin, or are these for the movie? Okay. They seemed
they even say so. There's a lot of kind of inside jokes and meta jokes in this. But even the one girl says, why am I even here? And they're like, why are you even here? And she's like, because I'm in the comic.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, I guess I should have known then. They seem like, comic characters that the movie just doesn't know what to do with or something. I don't know how important they are to the comic, but they're kind of, like the joke goes, they're just kind of here because they're in the comic, I guess. But those folks are Missy Pyle plays one of them, and then Paulo Costanzo, who I think is in... Oh, no, he's in Road Trip.
Yeah. He's the Jerry Seinfeld looking guy from Road Trip.
Yep, that's the guy. So as this is going on, there's this band called Du Jour, which is like a Backstreet Boys sort of a thing. They're very popular. Seth Green is in there, Breckin Meyer, the guy from Clueless, and some other guy. And they bring up to their manager, Alan Cumming, that they hear weird sounds underneath their record. And then Alan Cumming murders them, basically. He makes their plane crash since they're on to him. So now that Du Jour is out of the way, he needs a new band to become a manufactured, very hip, very popular band for the kids. He finds Josie and the Pussycats in Riverdale. They become instantly successful. In fact, so instantly that there's a joke about it that they become the biggest band in the world in a week before the record's even out. And then, the record company is using subliminal messaging in their songs to make people buy things that they don't need, as explained by Eugene Levy at one point in the movie. But they want just Josie to be famous, so they come up with a plan to kill the other two Pussycats, and then a bunch of other crazy stuff happens. So that's basically the plot of the movie. I think this movie, I watched this when I was a youngster, and I thought it was like fun. I'm not like super in love with this movie, but I think it's fun and silly. And it's,
You were 21 when it came out. How young could you have been?
I was like 19 or 20. I was born in 81. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I wasn't like a little kid, I guess, but if you put 3 hot ladies in a band in a movie, I'm gonna like it no matter how old I am. So.
Sure.
Like I saw it when it came out, and I've watched it like maybe once since then. Outside of this, and yeah, I think it's like a silly movie. It's like certainly a fun time capsule. Like if you have any nostalgia whatsoever for the year 2001, or like a pre 9/11 world, this movie will probably have a little something for you. And what I think is like kind of most interesting and most confusing about this movie, and maybe people's enjoyment of this movie might hinge upon how they feel about this riddle, is like how you react to this riddle of this movie might impact how you feel about it in general, but it's something I think is really interesting about it. And that's like, this is a movie, like a big budget movie with a lot of big budget stars and a lot of big, like, backing by MTV and corporations. Like there's like so much product placement in this movie and things like this, like, but the whole movie is about like how that stuff sucks, like the movie is about how MTV ruins, like creates a shitty monoculture, and MTV is like a big part of it, like financially, I think, and then also just narratively and stuff. So like how you feel about what, like, is MTV like kind of trying to have their cake and eat it too, like laughing at themselves, or is it something that's very subversive, or like?
I will say this. So the product placement is meant to be ridiculous. And they were unpaid for all the product placement in the movie, which I think is notable. Yeah. Like they did not receive compensation for putting it there because they knew that in order for this kind of commentary to hold any weight, they couldn't take money from any of the sponsors. So I think that's worth noting.
Yeah, but at the same time, it is just like actively annoying to have these Starbucks logos and Target logos just blasted into your face through the entire movie. And I feel like if you guys didn't even get paid for all of this, well, then joke's on you. You just gave all this free advertising to these mega corporations,
But they're doing so to point out how prevalent and omnipresent advertising is, and how
sure, but I don't think that the satire is so effective that it outweighs the amount of free advertising they're giving these corporations.
Well, that's what I'm asking, is like about the conundrum of this movie is if leaning into all of this, the advertising, the MTV stuff, like, is this movie subversive enough to survive the fact that it is actually like promoting a lot of the stuff it's satirizing? Like it's a strange movie that way.
But there is like an easy approach to correct this fatal flaw, I feel like, with this movie, and it's just use a fictional brand. Multiple fictional brands. That's what other movies do that do this same kind of a thing.
That's one way to do it.
I call it Star Brew or whatever, and then done deal. Okay. Now we all get that it is kind of supposed to be critical of Starbucks, the corporation. I think probably a good chunk of the audience watches this, and they register that there is this plot about subliminal messages. At the same time, they probably walk away being like, oh, you know what? I'm kind of craving a Frappuccino or whatever.
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't wrapped, in the 25 years that I've been watching this movie, I still haven't wrapped my head around it, whether or not it's like effective, or like it's, like a scathing takedown of these things, or if it's just, a product of its time. And like it, but like, that's kind of what the time was. Like 2001, it was like kind of like that in general. Like it was like, one of, around, like there's a lot of stuff about Total Request Live in this movie. MTV's TRL, where you could like call in and vote for like the whatever your favorite video was. And like next to the
Unless it was
Backstreet,
Tom Green.
What's that?
Unless it was Tom Green, and then they would, not respect your votes.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say is like, this was a time where right next to the Backstreet Boys and like Blink 182 and stuff like that, like Tom Green's music video was just as popular as those things. Like it was a weird time where like subversiveness was sort of toothless and commercial in a way, like, but also like still effective, like Jackass and stuff like that. Like it's so the fact that this movie like is confusing in its messaging, I think also is just kind of a good representation of what 2001 was like, kind of,
And this is even more of a stretch than me saying something being slow and boring is actually exciting.
I mean, I'm just posing questions here. Like I said,
Okay. And that's the basis of journalism, right?
Well, yeah. After 25 years of watching this movie, I still kind of don't know how I feel about this. I'm just spitballing here.
My take is if this movie did anything at all to drive up the brand awareness of Starbucks to the degree that, a single mom and pop coffee roaster went out of business, it doesn't matter if their intention was ironic, you still put these guys out of business. You still simped for the most evil corporations on the planet for 90 minutes.
I mean, but the whole thing is about how these corporations are bad. So like, what if one person watches this movie and goes, "Oh yeah, I need to go to Starbucks right now." But what if another person watches this movie and goes, "Oh yeah, Starbucks is kind of evil. I'm not going to go there." Like, I feel like both of those people could watch this movie. Like, that's the kind of movie it is.
I mean, if the satire was good, but it's not. I mean, it's just, there's the one core idea of, oh yeah, there's subliminal messages under records. Something that, that's been around since the 60s or 70s. Like, it's not a new idea. It's not really explored all that well. I don't know. The movie's mostly kind of about other stuff, even though it is got that at its core.
That's also true. Like this movie, it has a good premise and a good lead up with all the subversion, with all the, subliminal messaging and conspiracy and like evil corporation stuff. And then it kind of ends with like Act 3 is just sort of like a big wet fart where there's like kind of just like a silly slap fight between Parker Posey and Rachel Lee Cook. And then like the movie just kind of ends. So like, I feel like if there was some sort of a third act to this that was actually effective, then that would help the movie greatly. Because I think that's kind of the flaws. Like once it gets to a certain point, like it just kind of like peters out and poofs away. So there's that. But I don't know. I think this is
a movie like The Substance goes and shows like how the media landscape is like actively destructive to people, and like you see that and you're like, okay, yeah, like I can see some dangerous messages are being conveyed in our media, etc. But this, they introduce the concept of subliminal messages, but it's mostly just for a laugh. It's not like you come away from this like feeling that there are real threats being posed by these mega corporations other than like maybe they might be pushing the wrong bands to popularity or something.
Yeah, the movie is pretty lighthearted. Like it's not, the thesis statement isn't like super heavy. It's just like, hey, you're maybe worshiping a monoculture isn't all that great. And like, maybe you should look outside of MTV for what you want in life. Like, it's not super heavy the way that, the stuff or the substances, I guess. It doesn't have big goals in mind. It's not super ambitious.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
There's a scene in this where near the end, Rachel Lee Cook, Josie, brings like her boyfriend on stage, like they're playing like a big celebratory concert, and like she hugs him and kisses him. And then it cuts to a guy in the crowd wearing an I Love Josie shirt who goes, "Oh no, is that Archie?"
Oh, good call. I don't know. I didn't even pick up on that.
Okay.
But yeah, it could be.
Yeah, I thought it was Archie. Like I was a little surprised that outside of that, if that even is him, that there's not a lot of Archie stuff that I saw. Maybe you know more about them, so maybe you caught something. But it seems like this movie's prime for like a cool like Jughead cameo or something, and you don't really get anything like that. But
no, and I mean, Josie and the Pussycats have always kind of been, in the Riverdale world, but always been pretty much their own thing.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, maybe that's not Archie then. I thought maybe it was, but I couldn't find anything about it on the internet. But anyway, I think this is a silly movie. It's not like wonderful, but it's fun enough. What do you guys think about it?
Yeah, I remember when this came out in 2001, that pre 9/11 time. I think it came out in like April of 2001. And at the time, I wasn't really too interested in it. I was kind of, beyond that. And just by, the advertising and what I saw, I was like, yeah, this is like, a movie for people a little younger than me, probably for girls, not something that, my 20-year-old self would be interested in. But being a fan of the comics and the cartoon, even when they went into outer space, I was morbidly curious about this, and I liked a little bit of the music that I had heard. They got the lady from Letters to Cleo doing the vocals on the songs, and I always was, somewhat of a Letters to Cleo fan. I thought that girl had a cool voice, and like you mentioned, all the Pussycats, very attractive ladies. At the time, I mean, it was probably one of the hottest trios of ladies you could have put together, at least for my taste. So eventually, I didn't see this in theaters or anything, but when it eventually came out on video, or maybe even when it hit cable, I checked this out and was pleasantly surprised. I mean, like you said, it's not a great movie by any means. And the way you'll enjoy this is basically, like you said, going to be on how much you can tolerate that era, that very specific era of late 90s, early 2000s, kind of TRL, boy band, Britney, the early days of AOL.
And these are all things that you love, right, Kevin Moss?
Well, at the time, no, I didn't. But, looking back on them, they kind of seem like, I don't know.
Oh, you're not developing nostalgia for the early 2000s, are you?
Compared to 2026? Yeah, it seems like a goddamn utopia.
Sure.
It was a golden age.
Yeah.
Go slightly further back, and I think you'll find more to enjoy.
Of course. Yes. I mean, it was a terrible time culturally, but I do think there is enough here to enjoy, especially if you don't take this very seriously, which I certainly don't. Yes, you can. I'm sure people have argued for days and days on the internet and in essays and in think pieces about whether or not this is a scathing criticism of capitalism and, its influence in pop culture, or just part of that system. And, I think you can look at it both ways, and I think both ways are partially correct. But again, I choose not to take it too seriously. I mean, it is very unserious with the product placement. It is intentionally over the top. It was purposely done to make every frame of the movie have some sort of product placement, even when it doesn't make sense. Like, they stay in a hotel that is just McDonald's themed for some reason. Like that, like, to me, that's hilarious. And like, there's some parts in here that I think are genuinely laugh out loud funny. I think Parker Posey is pretty funny in this. For whatever reason, her delivery of "the Chinese guy knows what I'm talking about" makes me crack up every fucking time. And I thought there's some pretty funny kind of meta jokes in this and self-referential stuff that I think it's winking in the camera pretty much the whole time, to the point where I think that's kind of its saving grace. The fact that it doesn't take itself seriously, so you don't have to take this seriously. And you can enjoy this if you're a 13-year-old girl, or you can enjoy it if you're a weird man in his 40s. And again, not to sound like a total pervert, but yeah, these ladies, they look really good in this movie. So even if you're just there for babe watching, I think it sustains a whole 90 minutes just by these ladies looking foxy as hell. So
va voom.
Yeah, va voom all night. So yeah, I think this is one of these movies because it was a huge box office failure when it came out. I think it made only like half of its budget back, and it was they were planning on this to be a pretty big hit. They had a lot of merchandise plans and potential spin-offs and stuff. It's also interesting because I guess they couldn't really figure out the tone. I mean, there are some fairly adult jokes in this and some sexual references. The movie got a PG-13 upon its theatrical release, which I guess was not very cool with the folks at Archie's Comics, who insisted that when the movie came out on home video, they released the PG-13 version and a family-friendly version that has most of the profanity and sexual references cut out. So
yeah, well, Du Jour, the Backstreet Boys band, like their big song is "Backdoor Lover," which is
right
a song about fucking in the butt. So yeah, there's some wild stuff in here for a kids movie, essentially.
Yeah. So and like I said, this movie has definitely garnered a cult following. If you're of a certain age and you caught this, most likely on home video or on cable growing up, there's a lot of people, I think, a little bit younger than us that have a real soft spot for this. And, it's in recent years gotten kind of like a reappraisal. And I think people have kind of thought of it in a more positive light than when it originally came out. And I think people like the soundtrack. They reissue it every so often on vinyl. And, I think it's kind of has a cult following for people, like I said, maybe 3 to 5 years younger than us. And I have to imagine if you're a young man, again, seeing this as a, coming of age, this might have been, a sexual awakening for you in many ways if you're into chicks that rock, which, come on, let's be honest, who isn't? But yeah, no, I think this is a fun movie. It's certainly not going to win any awards or change the world. But if you're looking for some late 90s, early 2000s nostalgia, and you like hot chicks rocking out and some, fun, if not toothless, social commentary, I think it's worth a watch.
Yeah, I think that I thought that I had seen this before, but upon watching it, I realized, no, I think I just remembered all of the marketing for this at the time. I feel like it was like promoted on the back of comic books maybe at the time. And yeah, but I did never see this until this week. And Bowman, I think y'all done it. This definitely is not the actual technical worst movie that we've ever done on the show, but I do think this is the most I have ever disliked a movie that we've done on the show. I mean, outside of things that are like morally repulsive, like maybe Where the Dead Go to Die, that Jimmy Screamer Claus cartoon that I picked. Maybe I don't like that, as maybe that's worse. But outside of that, man, just every note of this movie felt like it was explicitly designed to piss me off.
Well, before you continue, it is interesting that you bring up like ghoul movies and stuff. This movie has a ghoul movie connection in that the Soska sisters, who have appeared in like what's that guy's name? The Slaughter Vomit Dolls guy. Some of his movies.
Lucifer Valentine, of course.
Yeah. They are in this movie. They play fans of Du Jour at like the big opening.
Yeah, they're singing along to that backdoor fucking song or whatever.
Yeah, they are
with a bunch of
actually
10-year-old girls, which is strange and I don't know, kind of an interesting choice, but they're fine. I got no problem with the twin sisters in this. It's, I mean, first and foremost, it's the music. This is just not the music that I can listen to without wanting to remove my ears. And it's, it's like lower effort Blink-182 with vocals that are somehow even whinier than that guy. And I did try to fast forward through the opening credits because I hated the song so much. I mean, that's how far I got into this before. I was like, I can't even hang with this music. It's the first fucking song. But it turned out to be kind of a fruitless endeavor because this whole fucking movie is just chock full of this music. So at a certain point, I realized I couldn't just fast forward through all of it. I would have to be exposed to some of it. And that was tough for me. I think part of the problem is that the dialogue is mixed really low. So like, at least on the Amazon version that I watched, so like anytime the music would come in, it would be crazy loud. But even at a low volume, this is not music that I could really hang with. The product placement we talked about, I thought that was annoying. I also thought it was annoying that you guys made a movie that is supposed to be, I would say, emblematic of American culture, set in Riverdale, the, kind of an icon of Americana, and also New York City. But then you shoot this entire movie in Vancouver, Canada, with Canadian extras and an environment, to me, that did not look very American. So, I get it. You can save some money for the big mega corporation that made this movie. If you're willing to sacrifice your artistic integrity and sell out your hometown of Los Angeles, and choose not to employ any local craftsmen in LA. Yeah, just go shoot this in Vancouver. Save money for Universal. That's cool. Yeah. Nice job appeasing your corporate overlords, Josie and the Pussycats.
I think you're expecting way too much out of this movie.
Well, but at the same time, when it's supposed to be this anti-capitalist screed, like, have some fucking integrity then. Or don't, make that... Because that didn't have to be the through line of a Josie and the Pussycats movie. Like, this could have just been a fun time. Girls get together and make music kind of a thing.
Doesn't that make this movie less beholden to the man if they go away from Hollywood and shoot it with independent, nice people in Canada?
I guarantee you it was not the filmmaker's decision to go shoot up there with these unqualified Vancouver crew members,
Oh my God. You think the fine Canadians of Vancouver don't know how to hold a
boom mic compared to how the boom mics are held in Los Angeles, California, the original place where boom mics were ever held? Yeah, I don't think Vancouver is as good a place to make a movie as Los Angeles, but maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. I also didn't like Alan Cumming in this. I feel like he's in all of these movies, like these kinds of movies that are specifically designed for me to hate. It's almost a guarantee Alan Cumming is going to be in it. And it's almost a guarantee he's going to be doing these kinds of jokes where, like, when something unlikely happens, he makes a silly face and stares directly at the camera. And that's supposed to be funny, even though it's literally the easiest and least effective joke that you can make. Speaking of easy jokes, they do the thing where Parker Posey's character has Andy Warhol-style single-toned portraits of herself on the walls of her office. I think I've seen that now in about 10,000 movies. But I did like Parker Posey in this. I think she was maybe my favorite part. Potentially maybe the only part of this movie I did like was her. I thought she was very fun. What else? I saw on Wikipedia that Lisa Left Eye Lopez auditioned for the role of Valerie. I would have liked to have seen her in this. It's kind of a shame that she didn't get it. But that's not why I hate this movie. It's just, this is just a time period that I have no interest in. And this movie itself, I don't think there's anything about it outside of the time period that makes it all that appealing. It really is it is so 2001. So if you are the kind of person who has the kind of brain damage that would cause you to enjoy 2001's MTV culture rather than, 1987 MTV culture like a sane person would, you'll probably love this because it could not be more 2001. But yeah, that's just for me. That's not a time period that I'm all that fond of. And these boy bands and these Carson Dailies and all of this was just a little more than I could handle.
Well, I'm sorry to hear it, but us Archie fans over here, we like this kind of stuff. We like the Archies. So
yeah, I mean, if I was like a dyed-in-the-wool Archiesman like you,
if I was a diehard fan like me,
an archivist, archiving all the Archies. I might be into this.
What I would like to see, if I had my druthers and if I could make my own Josie and the Pussycat, a lot of the Josie and the Pussycat comics and even a lot of the cartoons were kind of Scooby-Doo-esque, where they'd encounter monsters and, haunted houses and things like that. So I would love to see a Josie and the Pussycats movie where they rocked out, but also investigated hauntings and monsters.
Yeah, or maybe they try to solve the mystery of who killed their dog down by the lake.
That's right.
I do think it's funny that back-to-back we did like maybe the most Sean Byron movie ever and then the most Parker Bowman movie ever.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, that's how it goes. And also the most Kevin movie ever.
Kind of, yeah.
Well, that wraps it up then for Josie and the Pussycats. I think we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will have long tails and ears to match, so stick around.
All right, well, that wraps up episode number 699 of Junk Food Dinner. We'd like to thank everybody for tuning in and listening. If you like the podcast, make sure you're subscribed on your favorite podcast app of choice, but chances are you already are. But if you want to dig into the archives of Junk Food Dinner, probably the easiest way is to go to our website, junkfooddinner.com, where we not only have every episode of Junk Food Dinner, but we have every episode of Junk Food Supper, easily chronicled for your listening pleasure. If you want to get in on the conversation, hang out with your junk food friends and all of our listeners in the Junk Food Dinner community, make sure you are joining us on Discord. Go to Discord, look for the Junk Food Dinner Hangout, come on in, and, talk about whatever. You can also send us an email at jfdpodcast@gmail.com, or even better, let your voice be heard by giving us a call on the Junk Food Dinner voicemail line at 347-746-JUNK. And we would really like to hear your calls because next month it is our momentous 700th episode of Junk Food Dinner. So congratulations, gentlemen, making it 700 episodes, not even including all the many episodes of Junk Food Supper mixed in, as well as all the Patreon bonus episodes and everything else. We're probably closer to 1,000, but of official Junk Food Dinner episodes, we are going to be hitting 700 next month, and as such, we are going to take the 700th episode into the 70s with a trio of 70s flicks as we take a look at The Conversation from 1974, The Farmer from 1977, and Cannonball Run from 1979. So make sure you tune in for that. So until next time, this is Kevin Moss for Parker Bowman and Sean Byron saying adios, everybody. We'll see you next time.
The Chinese guy knows what I'm talking about.